All right, welcome back to another episode of Just Buy Less Coffee, answering the deeper questions of American politics. My name is Troy, aka Keep Troy Blue. With me, as always, is Cathy Cannon at Cannon's Fodder, but not for long, Cathy. Oh,
No, I know. I'm
the
so
dream is
sad.
the dream is crashing down. What are we gonna do?
My
TikTok
15
probably
minutes are up, guys. I'm over. I'm washed up.
TikTok's probably gonna be going away. In the United States, it's been a ride. It's been a ride.
But
Kathy
it's
and I
so
met
good that
on
they're
TikTok.
focusing on what's important, like getting rid of the
Yeah.
TikTok and not necessarily anything else that's, like fires burning, people drowning. It's fine.
Yeah, we can get a little bit more into the TikTok in a little bit, but yeah, it's been the end of an era. Pretty sad. Uh,
Yeah.
the TikToks, the fires, fires burning in Los Angeles, my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Really sad. Our listeners may not know. I lived in LA for 10 years. Lived in West LA, so I wouldn't have had to evacuate these fires, but I did work in Pacific Palisades. I worked in Malibu. I was a substitute teacher at Palisades Charter High School that just burned down.
Oh,
Really
wow.
sad.
Yeah. That was the one you taught at?
Yeah, I subbed there, for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful school. It was absolutely beautiful
Yeah.
school.
Isn't that
It's
the one where they
so
film all the movies too?
most of them, yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of split between Pali and Hollywood High, and Culver City High. But yeah, it's just really sad. That was a beautiful school, great school, one of the best high schools in the country. Yeah, it's just a great community. Palisades, upper middle class to upper class, to be sure, but just a great community of people. It wasn't all movie stars. It wasn't all like celebrities and billionaires. It was really, really good people in that community. It's really sad. My heart goes out to them. Yeah, but that wasn't the only fire. There's fires in the Hollywood Hills. There's fires in Pasadena and Altadena. Altadena is not a wealthy neighborhood, very middle class neighborhood as well. So it's just really depressing
Yeah.
to see all the response that people are, some of these assholes online are just like mocking people, say it was God's will.
And that's
Talking a lot of
disgusting,
bullshit
right?
about California. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe that. Like when North Carolina was underwater, nobody was like, ha ha ha, God's punishing you, North Carolina. Right? Like it's gross. But it's
Yeah.
also like really evidence that like, I don't know, one, the so-called Christians are very much not Christian, but two, the reality that like none of us are safe. Right.
Right.
Even the
Right.
wealthy people, like we are all one natural disaster away from being the very refugees that we shun and mock and bully,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and I saw another thing, like the irresponsibility of the media is driving me insane even further because you see videos of people like, grabbing their belongings and as much as they can to flee their house. And like Fox News is characterizing it as looters during the fires. I was like,
Right. Right.
it's just
Oh,
so
Fox is gonna
disgusting.
Fox.
That's,
People just love to hate on California so much. It's so weird. It's so depressed. I don't understand it. Like, it's just a jealousy thing, I guess. I don't understand it. I
Yes,
don't
I don't
know.
know. It's like
Um,
I don't understand it either because like the American economy would be fucked if not for California. Like especially these red states. The money that comes out of California in tax revenue is basically what feeds Mississippi because
yeah,
everybody's on welfare, right? Like
pretty much. Yeah. I don't. It's
whatever
just.
though.
I guess. I mean, I kind of understand from like the MAGA or like far right perspective because right wing media has been cultivating because California is a successful blue state, right? It's a very wealthy
Yeah, it
blue
drives
state.
them nuts.
Drives them nuts, and they've been cultivating these talking points about California for a long time. And so it's ingrained in these people. These people are just like trained. It's like a
Yeah,
Pavlov
I'm pretty
response. It's like California,
I think
ooh, gross.
No,
You
and I
know,
think it's a response to the fact that California became such like a liberal beacon when it was in fact
wasn't
the home of
always.
Ronald. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Like it was the home of Ronald Reagan, right? And now it's a liberal bastion of whatever. And I think that's what drives them crazy the most. Like
yeah,
it'd be the same way I think like that Democrats would feel a little bit slighted if New York all of a sudden turned solid red. Like I think it would be as jarring if that makes any sense. But who knows?
yeah, yeah. It'd be
But
weird.
yeah, I don't know. And the thing is like California is very liberal, but it's also not like everybody's a Democrat there. Like,
California is so big; it's basically just a microcosm of the whole country. I mean, yeah, it is definitely
yeah,
like a solidly blue state, but there's tons of Republicans in California. There's Republicans in LA. There's a ton of Republicans in LA County. Like
I know. And I
there's
saw like a
there's
graphic.
millions and millions and millions of Republicans in California. It's not like it's people don't understand. They don't grasp. It's in the way that like British people can't grasp the scope of the how big the United States is.
Mm,
Americans can't grasp how that aren't from California can't grasp how big California is and how many different communities and big cities, small towns, farms, like just everything. It's everything. It's not
yeah,
like one
like
thing.
for like all Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, oh, we should secede the union. I'm like, there's only like 3 states that could probably sustainably secede the union and still exist, and that would probably be California, Texas, and New York, right? Like the only states that don't need anybody
Probably
else. In
Florida too,
Texas,
right? You think
we have a
Florida could
lot of
survive on its own?
hurricanes and we're poor.
Well,
Like
that's
we
true.
have a lot of like we have a lot of natural disasters and stuff. But
Fourth
also,
wealthiest state.
the other thing is that if America wasn't part of the United States, traveling here would require a passport, and that would probably cut a lot of tourist traffic because leaving another country is harder than crossing a state border.
Well, one of
So
us has got to stay. California, they need Disneyland or Disney World, so you can't both secede. Somebody's got to stick around.
I think Disney World's better than Disneyland, but I've never been to Disneyland, so I can't really
Well,
say.
it's the same thing, but it's Disneyland is just the Magic
Just the Magic
Kingdom. It doesn't
Kingdom.
have all the
Yeah.
extra goodies that you guys have.
And even your magic, like I feel like I read somewhere that like the overall acreage of your Magic Kingdom is smaller too.
Probably. Yeah.
Just because they built that one first, because they built Disneyland first, right?
They
And
built
then they
Disneyland
went,
first, and then they built
yeah,
Disneyland
and then they're
second.
like, let's go
Yeah.
big or go home, and they bought a bunch of swampland in Florida, and here we are.
It's not like
the
Disney
happiest
World.
place on earth with crocodiles and swampy air.
It's not. It's swampy air. The Anaheim doesn't. I don't. It feels like. I mean, it feels like to me like Disney World is basically its own like city. There, it's basically its own like internal. I mean, they even have their own like internal neighborhoods, don't they?
Here, yeah,
residential.
well, you remember the whole like DeSantis versus Disney thing, like taking over the special district, right? So yeah, like they were in fact their own like governing city for all intents and purposes until Ron DeSantis got a hair up his ass about like gay frogs or some shit. I don't even know. You never know with Ronnie. But here we are.
I don't know. I can't. That was so long. That was like a year ago, and I can't. So much has happened. I can't even remember.
It feels like 1,000 years ago.
I
It
don't
feels
even
like
remember
remember
what that
back in the
scandal was.
days.
Yeah.
And though, how awesome is it to know that Ron DeSantis' career in politics is over? Because notice nobody's like dancing around him for any appointments and anything. And
I thought he was going to get something. Wasn't he mentioned for something? It didn't happen.
I don't know. I doubt it because remember, he actively and openly criticized Donald Trump on the Republican side, like the same way Nikki Haley isn't going to get any spots no matter how much she kisses the ring, right? Ronnie's the same. What surprises me is
than DeSantis, but
yeah, like what surprises me is that Donald Trump was so accepting of Elon Musk, even though Elon Musk was initially backing Ron DeSantis, right? Donald Trump is Elon Musk's second favorite wannabe fascist,
Yeah,
which tells you that Ron DeSantis is probably more evil at his core than Donald Trump, because if Elon preferred Ronnie first, he's probably both more insecure and more evil. God help us.
Well, he'll find his way. I did want to debunk some of the bullshit about California.
Yes, please.
A lot of misinformation going on. First of all, people don't understand how wildfires work.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand. It's a disaster that I guess people just don't like. It's dryness and wind.
Like I keep getting people asking me like, how did the fire start? I'm like, the sun. Like I don't know how to explain it more. Like, have you
ever? It doesn't really matter. This is my point. It doesn't really matter how they start. You could start a fire in the rain and it wouldn't go anywhere. But if you have a fire with 100-mile-an-hour hurricane force winds with dry brush in a drought situation with no rain, it's not about how it started. It's about how fast it spreads. And it spreads too fast for firefighters to control it. That's why it's called a wildfire, because it's
Yep.
wildly out of control.
Fire gone
Like
wild. Woo!
like Cathy in her 20s. It's just out of control.
You know what? God damn
Um,
you. No, but like I tried to
just
explain
a
it to the
spark.
kids. Yeah, I was like, it could have been anything. It could have been a cigarette out the window. It could have been like a campsite that wasn't properly put out. It could have been anything. It could have been as simple as the sun was too hot one day on a little bit of dry brush. And like I explained it to them, like, remember when you were a kid and you got the magnifying glass and you would like, set things on fire with concentrated heat, right? It essentially
Did you
that. It
burn
could
ants as a
just
kid?
shut up. No, I just like tried. Anyway, not ants. I just tried to set fires because I see it on TV. I was a curious kid with no supervision. Leave me alone. But
Right.
like that's what made them finally realize that they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, so it was just really, really hot and dry, and like eventually, just like the toast will eventually burn in the toaster, the brush will eventually catch fire and just.
The other thing is that fires are normal. Like that's the normal, that's the way of things. That's the way of the forest. It's the way the
Yeah.
forest resets itself, is through fires.
Yeah, the
And
fires are trying to get rid of the people that are killing it.
the fires are resetting the brush and the soil. The fires are natural. I mean, these may have been set by arson, but by and large, forest fires are a natural occurrence. It's if you put, if you people live in the forest, you're living where the fires are. You know what I mean? So it's more about doing the best you can to prevent. The other thing was like they were saying there was no water in the fire hydrants, which
Oh,
is just
yeah.
the stupidest
And I was
thing. I don't.
like trying to
Okay,
explain
so
physics to people.
you don't understand. Okay, like fire hydrants are just caps on top of city water pipes. Like they don't run out of water. These people think that there's like a big tank of water underneath each fire hydrant that was just empty. Like that's not how that shit works. Like you don't understand how plumbing works. Like what the fuck are
It's
you talking
terrifying
about?
how little people know, It's very scary.
They turned the fire spread so fast. It was burning, 5 football fields of acreage every minute. They went to try to contain it. They opened up a bunch of fire hydrants all at once, and water pressure was low. Like if you're taking a shower and you start the dishwasher, or you're running 3 different water-based appliances at one time, the water pressure in your shower is going to drop. I mean, that's just how it works. That's how plumbing works.
Mm-hmm.
So they went to open up all these fire hydrants, and the other thing they said was that they also had to shut the power off, because a big problem in California has been these power stations exploding and spreading the
Yeah,
fire.
right.
So they had to shut down power temporarily to keep these power stations from exploding, overheating. So that slowed down
So
the water
scary.
pumping. So it's just the water was coming out slowly. It wasn't that there was no water in the hydrants.
Which means it didn't have the force to do what it needed. Yeah.
It's an asinine argument. That they were just, again, they immediately try to look for like incompetence. And this is the thing I don't understand. Like, do you think you could maintain a society the size of Los Angeles with just utter incompetence? Like, why do people just assume that Californians or people in Los Angeles, why do they just assume that like we're fucking stupid? Like why?
Because they're fucking stupid and they assume
Yeah.
everyone's like them.
I don't know. I don't get it.
And
It's
really
really
what
weird.
it is they're just committed to being angry. Like that's what's
Yeah,
killing me
yeah.
the most about this is like these are the angriest winners I've ever met in my life, right?
Right, right.
Like had Kamala Harris actually won the election, you and me wouldn't be sitting around here being all grumpy and mad and poking and being mean to people, right? We'd be like, let's plan for healthcare, right? Like
We
I
would have
don't
moved on. We
understand.
would have been like, all right, what's our plans? What's our policies? Like I'm
Yeah.
leaving these people behind me. I don't want to hear from them anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
but no, like they won their election and they're like, ha ha ha, like I still need to troll you. I'm like, why is your life so empty that it is driven on grievance and fuckery, right? Like you don't really care about anything. You just want to be allowed to be mean to people, and you're willing to let your country burn to be mean to people. It's quite a, I don't know,
the other thing was
verdict on the American psyche, I
it's
guess.
well, it's and then there's the whole like religious stuff too. Like LA is burning because of God or whatever. Um, But then the thing was that because they cut the fire budget. Well, they cut the fire budget by $17 million out of an $833 million budget. So then they're out here being like, oh, they took your fire department's not getting paid. I'm like, what the
Well,
fuck are you
actually,
talking
I
about?
heard something about that. I was listening to NPR and they said that when the budget was first released, it showed that they was cut by 17 million, but that was because they were still negotiating with the firefighters union for
Right.
their increase in pay. So the revised budget shows that they actually increased it like 53 million or billion. I don't even know which number, but like the point is like they didn't cut it. You're just reading an
Right. It's
old
one of those
report.
old report things. Yeah. Yeah. They did
Yeah.
that with COVID too. They're still citing the death report from November of that year. It wasn't even the full year, but anyway, yeah, they love to cite like old reports that are outdated.
The ones that are convenient for the point they're trying to make. That's what they like to do.
Yeah. So it's not they didn't take away the fire budget. Then also that's the LA City Fire Department. There's also the LA County Fire Department. There's Cal Fire. There's multiple like forest ranger agencies, federal Forest Service that are fighting this fire. So it's not like cutting the budget for the city fire department. It's not like the city fire department is the only agency responding to this fire.
Yeah.
The other thing was the DEI. So they have this again, the city fire department. The chief is a lesbian woman. I'm not sure how your preference for who you have sex with makes water come out of pipes faster. I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, like that's it. Like, what is the point of that? Like, what is the point of saying like, oh, and you knew it was coming too. You saw it from a million miles away as soon as the fire started. It's like that day there were pictures of the lesbian fire chief.
Here's what it is. It was Charlie Kirk that I think was making the big deal about that, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, I'm sure.
But what it is that being a firefighter requires a lot of like physical ability, right? You have to be very strong, very like, whatever. Like it's not an easy job, firefighting. And Charlie Kirk is a weak little pussy, and he knows it. And Charlie Kirk couldn't handle being a firefighter, and he knows it. So it really upsets him that there's a lady that's not only a firefighter, which is something he couldn't do, but the chief of the firefighters, which wouldn't let him in, which means that this lady is so much better than him that she could lead the job he wasn't allowed to have. And that just doesn't, like, he can't cope with it. So of course he melts down on the internet.
This is her resume. Okay. She passed the firefighters exam in 98. She was in the top 50 of more than 16,000 applicants. She joined the fire department in 2000. So she's been doing this for 25 years, which is, I think, isn't Charlie Kirk like 25 years old?
Probably.
She's been a firefighter, a paramedic, an engineer, a fire inspector, a captain, a battalion chief, assistant chief, fire marshal, and deputy chief. She was named fire chief in 2022. So she's been the chief for 3 years now. So it's not like this woman. She was also appointed in 2023. She was on the Homeland Security Advisory Council. It's not like, okay, DEI doesn't mean that they just grab any lesbian off the street, be like, hey, do you want to be the fire chief?
I swear that must be what they think. I swear it must be what they think.
Like it's you they're still qualified for the job that they have. You're just putting an emphasis on promoting people that may have been overlooked in the past. It's not like they went out of their way to just put an unqualified person in that position. So I don't know. Yeah.
Like that resume would have gotten that job regardless who it was attached to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can't stand that because they need it to be that we just picked up a lesbian off the street, because they can't handle the fact that a woman of any kind could be more capable than them at anything, because their entire identity is wrapped up in men strong, women no strong. So a strong woman shows up and they just shrivel and like their testicles reascend into their abdomen and their like prepubescent voice comes back. Just look at Ben Shapiro. That voice is not the voice of a man whose balls have dropped.
Yeah.
All I can say.
He sounds like a 12-year-old.
I'm inappropriate. I'm so sorry.
You are inappropriate. Anyway, it's just really depressing. Again, I lived there. I worked there. I worked in Malibu. I worked in Palisades. It's really fucking sad. It's really infuriating watching. Like, all of my friends have had to evacuate. My dear friends that still live in LA. I don't know. Some of them have gone home. Some of them still don't know if their houses are gone. My coworkers at Midas Touch, most of them live in LA. They all had to evacuate. Just really, really scary and really sad. Just absolutely horrifying. Just horrifying and sad in my heart, because we should post like a Red Cross link or whatever. But
Yeah.
Pally, man, I cannot fucking believe that Palisade. It's like hearing that like an old, girlfriend died or something. It's just like I loved that school so much. It was so special to me, and now it's
Yeah,
gone.
I've
It was
been
just like
seeing
a
like pictures,
historic.
like like before and afters and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's just heartbreaking. And like
yeah,
not only have people lost their homes, but like businesses have also burned down. So
right,
like
right.
there are people who have lost their homes but still have a job, and there are people who've lost their jobs but not their home. And like
Yeah,
there are people who've lost everything.
yeah. It's pretty bad.
I just it's just heartbreaking. And it makes it all the more painful because like the callousness towards the people, like we didn't treat North Carolina like that when they were underwater. We didn't even
I
treat
don't.
Texas like that with Harvey. Like we didn't
Yeah.
treat New Jersey like that with Sandy. Like why do these people feel justified in laughing at the misery of other people and still feel they have the right to call themselves holy or Christian or
There's
whatever the
terrible
fuck they
people.
call
It's
themselves?
absolutely terrible people.
It's gross is what it is.
So anyway, yeah, just really sad. Do you want to talk about do you want to talk about Jimmy's funeral at all? All the like the
Like there's
politics
only
of
a few
Jimmy's
things to
funeral.
say about.
That was
It
that
was
was, oh my god, that was crazy. Yeah,
yeah,
the
they
little
like
subtleties.
Biden's like I liked Biden's speech. It was both very good and very undercut, like under punch kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Very clearly talking about one orange man in the room. Um, I like that the Jimmy Carter Center cut him out of the photo they posted.
Did they really? I
Um,
didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
well, I don't know if they meant to or it was just, like, where he was sitting was behind a pillar from, like, where but, it was funny all the same. I
Oh
like
boy,
that and I don't know how true some of this is, that, like, George Bush told him to fuck off or something, and
it
I
looked
can't,
like
like
he looked pissed. Those two
like
have not made up at all.
yeah, so I know there was tension there. I know a lot of people were freaking out that, like, Obama was sitting next to him, and I was like, "Okay, but, like, if you notice, it's descending order of presidents, so calm the fuck down." But, like, saw him laughing, and I was like, "Tell me you wouldn't, like" it's the awkward chuckle of, "I can't believe I have to sit next to this fucker. Oh my god, I'm on television. The whole world is looking at me. Behave yourself." Like,
I don't. I think that was overplayed. First of all,
it was
Obama's
very
just a
much
nice guy.
overplayed.
If they were going to put anyone next to
Yeah.
Trump, it would have been Obama, because nobody else wants to sit next to that fucking guy.
I'm pretty sure that's
Um,
why Michelle didn't go because based on how they were
yeah,
seated, it would have been her next to Donald, and
she
that
would
would
have had to
not have
sit next to. She would
because
have
it
had to
was
sit next
president,
to her.
first lady, president, first lady, president, first
Yeah.
lady. So it would have been Michelle next to Donald Trump. So I kind of don't blame her for that.
I mean, Obama. Obama's Obama. Obama's. It's cool. It's cool. Very cool. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Plus, there's this whole like keep your enemies close thing. I don't know. People that are like outraged that they were like sharing some chuckles. I don't know, man. Like, who cares?
At a funeral,
At
no
a
less. It's like
funeral.
not the place
They're
to
still
be a
not.
fucking asshole.
They're still not political allies by any stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I saw some chick on TikTok, like somebody I follow, like who I was surprised to see the bullshit from, but she goes, That's what it is. These two are friends. They've always been friends. They're all in on it together." And I was like, they are
See, that's my
very
point. Like, that's
much
so stupid.
not
That's like
friends. Like,
they do
where
not
the
like each
fuck are
other
you?
at all. Like,
Yeah, like there's cynicism and then there's straight up stupid, right? And like
yeah.
some people are venturing into straight up stupid right now. Like Donald Trump and Obama are not friends. Donald Trump hates Obama so much that he ran for president because Obama made fun of him at the correspondence dinner, right? Like,
That's literally why Trump ran for president, was just to spite Obama.
I know, I know.
Um,
It's very
so,
unfortunate because it worked.
but you had like George W. just flash this like this like angry stink eye at
Yeah,
Trump, and then like give Obama a little belly pat. Um,
yeah,
the tenderness between the Obamas and the Bushes is like one of the greatest. Just so adorable. I don't know. It makes me
yeah.
actually. I can't believe how much we like George W. Bush in this era.
I don't
After
know that I'd
everything,
go that far, but I definitely don't see him as the evil monster I used to see
no,
him as.
no.
Although,
Okay,
I forgot all of the evil shit that motherfucker did. Like I've been playing with
it's
ChatGPT
pretty
because
bad.
like the kids use ChatGPT for everything, and I'm like, I need like I can't fight them using it, so I need to figure out a way to like let them use it in a way that could actually help. So I've been playing with it a little, right? And I just asked it like for like president by president scandals. And by the way, Trump's list is long. Because they'll give you a list and you'll be like, come on, tell me more. And they'll be like, oh, for sure. And they just keep going. But I did the same thing with George W. Bush. And 36 different scandals is what ChatGPT came back with. So let's not forget who he actually was.
pretty
Like, where
bad.
did we start? The Iraq War and intelligence manipulation, torture and enhanced interrogation, Abu Ghraib, Hurricane Katrina, Valerie Plame, the Patriot Act, and domestic surveillance. When he fired all of the U.S. attorneys, very Richard Nixon style, like Halliburton and the war profiteering, No Child Left Behind, repeal. Like, so let's not like him.
Yeah, no,
like, because that's just the first few, and it keeps going. So
I just mean he's because like in the world of Trump,
yes, that's
you could
fair.
find the goodness in George W. Bush. Again, he's the reason why I'm here. It was because of how awful his presidency was.
Yep.
Very, very evil man back in the day.
Yep.
The other one was Kamala. Wow. It's sort of the opposite for me. Like, these people are politicians. They know how to like bullshit. They know how to like play a room. They're in rooms with our enemies all the time. They know how to like be personable to people they don't like.
Yep.
To me, it's telling how much shade the Trumps got by people who knew they were on camera and didn't care. Like Kamala, Kamala, and I think Doug actually talked to him at one point, but.
And I know Mike Pence's wife like refused to shake his hand.
Mike Pence's wife,
Yeah.
like, just the full on just disgust that people had at Trump and Melania in that room was pretty intense.
It was refreshing, actually, to be fair.
They probably Trump has trashed Carter repeatedly. I mean,
I know.
To have him there.
I was surprised he was there, truthfully.
Well, he didn't go to Rosalind's, right?
No, and remember McCain said he didn't want him at his.
Yeah,
like
McCain
straight up, I don't want
his. Yeah.
I guess Jimmy Carter's too classy for that, but like I was still
it must
shocked
have been.
to see
It must have been a. Yeah, he must have like the Carter family must have very specifically invited them because
Yeah, I would imagine that had he not won the election, though, he wouldn't have been there.
No, I don't think he would have been there at all. He would
probably because he'd be in jail, but no, he wouldn't be in jail either because he's still a billionaire.
Yeah. So Judge Mershon basically sentencing Donald Trump to be a convicted felon. That's about it. There'll be no jail time. But he is officially
he sentenced him to be a rich man that gets away with everything.
Yep, pretty much.
Pretty much.
That doesn't necessarily mean there can't be more convictions later when he's no longer a president. At some point, at some point he's not going to be the president by one way or another. So yeah.
I would take either at this point.
Sassy. I told you, wildfire over here. Cathy Wildfire Cannon.
Doing the eyebrow thing, right? Like the
yeah.
Burp, burp, burp.
So tell me a little bit about the TikTok stuff. I didn't listen to the oral arguments. Do you have any analysis of the oral arguments there? We were talking about a little bit on the pre-show, but
yeah, I listened to a little bit of them, but I was at work for most of it. So like for about a few minutes of my lunch break, I was able to like let it hear a little. But I went back and read and reviewed, and the major takeaways are that the government really doesn't have an argument for getting rid of TikTok other than we think it could be used in bad ways. So like prophylactically, we would like to ban it. In very much we don't know that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, but let's go conquer them just in cases. It's very much that argument again.
Wait, did you mean proactively? Or because you said prophylactically?
What did I say?
Prophylactically.
Really?
That's a
that would work too, in a way.
I was like, is that a saying? I missed that one.
Hold on.
I don't know. Can you prophylactically ban something? It's more preventative.
Intended to prevent disease. Oh, yes. I used that one wrong. Preventative. Yeah. Like preventative.
Yeah, it works.
Whatever. It works. It's just, a weird work choice. I tend to do that.
I'll go with it.
I didn't mean to say that, though. That was definitely a
slip. Well, that's why I called it out, because I didn't want to just not mention it. And then, we listened to it on that playback.
Wait, what did I say?
What?
Sometimes words get jumbled in my head sometimes when I'm talking too bad. Now I don't remember what I was saying.
Oh, sorry. Well, you're talking about the oral, them just wanting to ban it just in case.
Yeah. So I meant to say preemptively. That's what I meant to say. Okay. Don't know how those got confused in my head. But,
you have safe sex on the brain. That's just what
there was also just the glaring reality that the justices have no fucking idea
Yeah.
how social media works. Like none at all. Like we knew it was bad, but like the way they were trying to ask what the algorithm means. And like TikTok is like, what you don't understand is it's not that they can't, like, people can't just go to another platform. Like Sam Alito compared it to changing a t-shirt, like just get a new t-shirt, as if like TikTok and like any other app are completely interchangeable. And like the lawyers for TikTok are like,
Like
it's
what?
it's the algorithm is the product here. Is like our algorithm is very unique and specific. And like, yeah, there are other platforms where you can post like short form video content, but there aren't other platforms that have this algorithm that posts those videos to the correct audiences. That's what makes people successful on TikTok. And like literally have no earthly idea. Like they have no idea how that works. And they're like, well, couldn't what? Anyway, so they have no idea what they're doing, and they're gonna, oddly enough, it seemed to me like they were gonna let the ban go through, which super shocking to me because the Roberts Court especially has always been very pro business. They love reinforcing the First Amendment rights of businesses, right? And it seemed weird for me, for the Roberts Court of all, to be like, yeah, we're okay with the government censoring the speech of a corporation. That feels like, and in a way, if doing this ultimately gets rid of Citizens United, I will happily say goodbye to TikTok, right? Because if they go ahead and set a
There have to be
precedent
sacrifices.
that you can, in fact, limit the First Amendment speech of corporations, then let's go ahead and like limit the speech of corporations in campaign finance.
Isn't that what they're doing? How is this constitutional? How, like, I don't get it. It's
Well, it's the thing is like be consistent is what I'm saying. Like if you want to live in a world where corporations have First Amendment protections, fine, but they have to have all of them. You don't get to just pick and choose which ones they have, and you don't get to just pick and choose which companies have them. Like it's the hypocrisy of the Roberts Court that will be studied in the ages, right? Because
the weakness of
like
the Chief
how
Justice.
many contradictory opinions that their own court has that are so obviously just placating the people, giving them fancy vacations. It's disgusting. Like the levels of corruption right now, the founding fathers rolling in their fucking graves. Like
Yeah.
the Madisonian nightmare is what we're living right now. Like everything he said wouldn't happen is happening. The fatal flaw of America was a complicit Congress or a complicit court with the president. Like if any two branches of the government start to collude, the system falls apart. And we're living in now all three of them working together to pump up a dictator. And where's Robespierre when you need him?
I just don't I have a very love-hate relationship with TikTok. And some part of
Me
me
too,
is
to be
will be
fair.
happy to see it go. If it indeed goes. Because I think it's very toxic and it promotes a lot of disinformation and a lot of really dumbing down of the United States, which is really not what we need. But at the same time, it's so valuable for so many businesses, for so many creators, for so many stars, so many smart people, good people on TikTok making good content. And it sucks. It really sucks that it's created a lot of livelihoods, and it's, these people are, it's not just about banning TikTok. It's a lot of businesses that operate on TikTok or use TikTok for their business, and it's just really harming those people. And it's harming the creators that do really good work and they make money off of TikTok. Like,
yeah, and that's where I land on it too. Like, I don't disagree that there are problems with TikTok that need to be addressed. I don't disagree with the fact that the algorithm can and has been manipulated to push certain things. Like, there's no doubt about it that TikTok played a role in like the Israel-Palestinian perceptions of young voters, right? There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about it that like in the months leading up to the election, the algorithm was tweaked to benefit Donald Trump, right? Like you, me, and everyone we know saw suppression on our videos, and you, me, our algorithms would not be feeding us conservative media, but I was getting a lot of conservative media on TikTok, right? So there are those elements.
Before the election, I was getting nothing but like MAGA creators, and their stuff was getting pushed out so hard.
Yep.
And then when you would correct them, when you do like fact checking, the fact checking would get suppressed. So it's just, it's infuriating.
So that is a real concern. So could the app be like, so the things that the government is saying the app could be used for, the potential to do that is there. And on small scales, we have seen it. So that is a valid point. But you like, that's just a problem with content moderation. That's the kind of thing that broad scope social media regulations writ large to Meta and X and everybody would solve. Like, the problems with TikTok are not unique to TikTok. And why are
Right.
they only focused on TikTok? Like, Twitter,
Yeah.
like Elon Musk has done way worse than what TikTok, like, was it done on TikTok? Yes. Was it done tenfold on Twitter? Yes.
Cambridge
Why aren't we banning
Analytica on Facebook they
on
did the
Facebook,
exact
right?
same thing that they're saying that TikTok might do,
Mm-hmm.
but Facebook didn't get the nuclear option. You know what I mean? And
Of
Facebook
course not.
sucks. Facebook is terrible.
And Facebook sucks. Like, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't logged on. Like, I technically have Facebook, but I don't really go on Facebook at all. And it looks like I might, because I post to Instagram, which automatically posts to Facebook. But I genuinely do not open my Facebook, but like once a month to see if I missed anyone's birthday. That's all I've
Yeah.
ever used Facebook for. Like, in the last 10 years, was like, oh, whose birthday's coming up? It's like I could just write it in my calendar, but no. So yeah,
We
TikTok sucks.
we post pictures of our daughter we have a closed group of, like, we figured out the best way to send pictures to just everybody was just to invite everybody to like a closed group, and then we just post, so we just have to post it once. We don't have to send pictures to like a million people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's the only thing I use Facebook for is to see pictures
Yeah.
of my daughter. But
Yep.
so.
But yeah, I don't know. Gonna have a lot more free time on my hands, guys. Whoop whoop.
Well, tell people where you're going. I mean, I'm on YouTube. I haven't really done much on YouTube. I have a very significant Reels presence. I will probably be doing a lot more on. Obviously, I will be on Reels and YouTube. I'm going to be keeping up with Reels and really trying to. But I'm really going to put a lot of emphasis into YouTube, because I think YouTube is actually much better than Reels. I'm also on Blue Sky, and then also follow me on my Midas stuff as well on MidasTouch.com. But where are you going to be at, Cathy? What's your
samesies, right? Like, I've been on Instagram, but like I said, I don't pay as much attention to it. So same name, just find me there. See if we can get me to a respectable follower count, because I suck. Also on Blue Sky, same name. Threads, same name. And YouTube as well. So there's our podcast channel on YouTube, but then like my individual channel, Cannon Spotter, and your individual channel. I've been playing with the shorts a little bit today. Been trying to post just like my most recent videos. So if you're looking for me, you should be able to find me. But I run my mouth on Blue Sky a lot. I like Blue Sky probably the best of like the text-based social media. So like, do I have Threads? Yes. Whatever I post on Instagram automatically will go to Facebook and Threads, but don't bother on Facebook. I'm not going to see it, because I'm not going to, like, I don't go on Facebook. But you can follow Instagram, you can follow Threads, you can follow Blue Sky, you can follow YouTube. I'll be in all those places. I also have my Patreon, where I've been doing like, I started writing again. So you can go to my Patreon and see, some stuff there. And
cool.
Our Patreon, our Just Buy Less Coffee Patreon as well. So,
which is like bonus content for folks who don't know. Like extra stuff that just doesn't make it on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll be. And it's like in the garden, because less time scrolling, because it's less fun to scroll through Reels. It just is.
It's not as good of an algorithm.
No,
I don't even really scroll Reels. I just make my little piece and go.
Yeah,
I don't stick around.
I think.
I guess now I will, because I want to see my friends who probably will be largely on Reels. But
yeah, well, I mean, what I know is when you post a Reel, it goes to like your followers feed. So you're like, if you're following me, you'll always see my videos, which is something that is not true of TikTok, to be fair.
Right.
Like, and so I guess that's a bonus. So if you are following me on Instagram, you will at least see everything I post there. You might not like everything I post, but that wasn't always true of TikTok. So that's it. That's what we're going to deal with.
There isn't the like hyper suppression shadow banning,
exactly.
where you won't see people you follow for like a year. Like you will see people. It just doesn't get, but it doesn't get pushed out as much either. So creators don't get a chance to grow as much on Instagram that they did on TikTok. So.
But yeah, well, we'll do our best. But I still, like, part of me still thinks that Donald Trump is going to come in all white knight style, and he's going to be like, I'm not going to enforce the TikTok ban, and I want to see Congress right now vote to repeal it. And his fucking do what they're told Congress. Like Mike Johnson will introduce a bill to reverse the TikTok ban because Donald Trump wants him to, and they'll immediately overturn the ban because Donald Trump wants them to, so he can look like a hero. That is what I foresee happening.
We are not.
And you do too, now that I've said it, right? Like,
If I would love to see TikTok stay, ultimately, I come down on. I'm in team stay more than team go. I've basically found the bright spot in TikTok leaving, but I would like it to stick around. If anything, just because I enjoy making content on TikTok.
I do. Just like the format is easier to make content. I'll share it wherever you want me to share it, but it's just easier to make there, you know?
I think if Trump saves it, I don't know what, his followers will love him for it. I don't know that moves the needle in any way, any significant way. Maybe with Gen Z. I don't know. What's your read on that?
No. What I think is the people that love him will say, see, you should like Donald Trump now because he saved your precious TikTok, right? And Democrats will be like, we knew he was going to save TikTok. We don't care. He's the fucking opportunistic fuckhead. Care. Like him saving TikTok literally kind of proves our point to you is that he doesn't have any scruples. It was his idea to begin with. We only got to this crisis because of him. So now he is going to solve the crisis he created. Cool. Like it's transparent as fuck to me. But what I also wonder is, let's say this happens. We know TikTok has kind of changed their algorithm a little bit to help him in hopes that this would that he would be able to do what I foresee him doing. But once he does it, do they have any motivation to keep him happy anymore?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yes or no? Like that would be what I really want to see is like, if he saves TikTok, how will TikTok respond? Because if he saves TikTok just for them to become another like bootlicker, like Zuckerberg, like we won't if he saves it just for that, that's not gonna that's worse than it is good, so.
Or if it's taken over by Zuckerberg and just becomes like another Meta property and Zuck just runs it into the ground. I'd almost rather it just go away than just become like another
and that's what
property.
I'm saying. Like if saving TikTok means it becomes another right-wing cesspool, let it die.
Yeah, exactly.
And
which has kind of looked like for a little bit, like we had kind of cleared out all the trolls, and then they all came roaring back right before the election, and they're all back, and it's become we're just like fighting off the cesspool again. It's
So if that's all, if saving it means, it's sort of like the King Solomon, right? Like I'd rather the baby go with them than see the baby harmed, right? Like it's a little bit what I feel like. Like if the only way to save it is to destroy it, then let it die.
Yeah, it's so dramatic.
See, look, isn't it wild how many times I can like pull biblical references to my examples?
So Catholic. Oh
it's so wild. Like every time I do it, like the kids will look at me sometimes really funny. They're like, I didn't take you for a religious person. I'm like, I'm Catholic. We're all religious, even when we pretend we're not. It's just so ingrained. It's just the guilt follows us wherever we go.
Continuing to follow the potential World War III developments here.
Oh my God.
Donald Trump threatening to not ruling out military force in taking Greenland, sending his little entourage to hang out in Greenland, which, by the way, did you see that they bribed homeless individuals in Greenland to wear MAGA hats and profess love to Donald Trump and talk about how much they would love to be part of the United States? Those were homeless individuals that they found basically on the street, and they basically got them cleaned up and got them a meal in exchange for wearing MAGA hats. So that's how they operate.
Shameless. They are.
That's how they operate.
Shameless. I don't know, man. It's really fucking scary. Because remember, my exit strategy was Canada, and that's not going to work now.
Canada, Mexico, Mexican president throwing shade by calling. Oh, he wanted to rename the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America. The Mexican president throwing shade by calling the United States America Mexicana from like a 17th century map. I'm in Europe right now. People are fucking nervous. Like it's like people are like noticeably nervous and like ill at ease right now because of this stuff. I have Danish friends. My Danish friend, which was awkward as fuck. Talking to them.
Yeah.
The Danish
they've
really
seen the
nervous.
World Wars before. They know what the slow crawl toward it looks like.
They were invaded by Nazi Germany. They know what that's like.
Yeah.
They're already sort of prepping for a Putin invasion. Now they got to start worrying about an American invasion as well, which would mean that the U.S. is at war with NATO, which would be just great. We might be at war soon. Kathy. You, my Spain and your United States, we might be at war, so that'd be fun.
That means I won't be
Yeah.
able to come visit you.
Well, you got to get out now. You got to come here now. Get your shit together.
They
I
might
might have
make
to
me
come
because
back.
he's
They
talking
might
about
kick me
deporting.
out.
They're talking about deporting like naturalized Americans, even, right? So he might pull my name out of a hat and be like, "Bitch, go." I'll be like, "But where? I don't know what country to go to. Do I go to England or Canada? Because if you just deport me to Canada, you're just going to conquer me again. And if you don't want me in your country, well, I'm still in your country there. So just go all the way back to England. I don't know. I don't know where to go."
Deport people to Canada, then take over Canada. That sounds about right. I don't know. They may kick me out of Spain. They may not want no Americans. They may want no Americans in España.
Oh God,
we'll see. I don't know.
Fucking wild, man. Like, how the fuck? I didn't teach all the history just to live through it, y'all. Like, I know I always enjoyed the unit on the French Revolution. I really did. I enjoyed teaching the French Revolution a lot. Like in Western Civ, like the goal to get through all of the curriculum is that you have to kill Napoleon by Christmas. So I would always get to teach French Revolution like around my birthday, the beginning of December. So it was like birthday party French Revolution style. We'd make like French Revolution ugly sweaters and shit. It was great.
Nice.
Like I love teaching the French Revolution.
I did
not want to live through it. I did not want like I don't want one of my journals to be one of the contemporaneous documents kids are reading 50 years from now, documenting the horrors.
You just became a primary source. How's that?
I don't want to be a primary source.
It just absolutely fucking kills me. Donald Trump did not talk about this on the campaign trail at all. Like this aggressive expansion of the U.S. borders never came up, not once.
In fact,
that is not what they voted for.
I didn't start any wars. Exactly. It was the exact opposite. I didn't start any wars, and everyone else starts wars, and Donald Trump's not going to start any wars. He's not even in office yet. He's pitched 3.
He was the I'm going to end all wars guy. Like he was going to be like, all wars in the world will end on my first day as president.
Yeah, and what he left out was, because I'm going to conquer the world, nobody needs to fight a war anymore. Like that's the part he left out.
But I just say it's so funny that his followers are like trying to justify it. They're like, yeah, spend $1 trillion to take Greenland. That's a good use of our money when we've been bitching.
Wait, where's the $1 trillion? Because we owe 36 trillion all over the place.
These people are like, we need to stop spending money we don't have, but go ahead and.
But we're gonna buy Greenland. We're gonna buy a country not for sale and use force to take it if necessary. Like so much for your no war. Like
Boy, we'll see.
There aren't words for how absurd it's become. You know, I don't even know, man. I don't even know.
The cat is walking across my keyboard. Yep. That must mean it's time to go.
The cat's like, bitch, beat me.
Yeah, got needy pussy here. So
Jesus Christ.
Thanks for a great conversation, Kathy.
Yeah, thanks, Troy.
That's going on a high note. So follow us if you know us from TikTok. Follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Blue Sky, Threads, all that good stuff. Follow the show on YouTube as well. Just Buy Less Coffee. Follow us on Patreon.
The podcast is probably going to be your primary source of finding us these days. So hey, maybe the silver lining is the podcast becomes like a top ranked one because there's nowhere else for you to hear my voice.
I'm going to beef up my individual YouTube, but I think we should start doing like podcast shorts off of the JBLC YouTube page
too. And what I realized in playing with YouTube shorts is that you can make a short, but you can attach it to another video you've made that's like more in context, which means I could probably do like a short little recap of something and link a deeper dive, right? So we might be able to play with YouTube enough to figure out like a way to do this, but there are going to be some growing pains between then and now. So bear with us and find us and follow us and love us.
Yes,
we love you.
Yes, please. Thanks everybody for continuing to support us. Prayers and love to my Los Angeles family. Please stay strong, all. I'll put like a Red Cross link in the show notes too.
I got my rosary beads for California right now. Just know everybody is in my heart because it's just so sad.
It's really sad. Thanks everybody for a great conversation, and we will see everybody next time. You've been listening to Just Buy Less Coffee, answering the deeper questions of American politics, featuring Troy Matthews at Keep Troy Blue and Cathy Cannon at Cannon's Fodder. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and X. All opinions are our own.